Good everybody, it's boy Hamza from Ather Gaming coming to you guys with a brand new video, guys. This video you saw by the title is going to be the top 5 meta decks of the current format, and you know how when I give my top 5 decks I always give 5 honorable mentions. We're not 5 honorable mentions, we're going to give a couple honorable mentions. Let's try and set the like goal for this video to be 2. I think a couple days ago our like goal was 1, now let's try and get 2, guys. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright guys, so starting off with the honorable mentions, the first deck I'm going to be talking about is Bee Trooper, or Tree Booper, shout out my boy Hussein. Essentially this is a very powerful deck. I know we just saw it on the EU YCS coming second, but I don't think that really bumps it up because again there weren't a lot of more Bee Troopers, and I feel like when something is considered meta, it's based off representation as well as like overall results. So even though it did perform well, again you're not going to see a lot of Bee Troopers in meta. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe this is going to change, but just right now I feel like this is one of those decks that you should know what it does, because it can contend with the meta. You know, it can deal with a lot of problematic cards, and it can set up its own pretty nasty boards, and if it goes second it has the capability to OTK you as well as hand trap you literally to death. So I think Bee Troopers is a very powerful deck as well as a really good honorable mention. Moving on to the next honorable mention, guys, it's going to be Fluandries or Flunder. Again, it's the exact same thing as Bee Trooper, where you will see good results with this deck, but a lot of people don't play it. I feel like right now it's not tier 1, but when you get that new quick play spell, I don't know what set it comes with for some reason, it's slipping my mind, but when you get that new quick play spell, it's basically like essentially like 6 copies of the map, which is like an extender. So I definitely feel like at that point Flunder will be able to make a push, crack into the top 5. Right now I just don't think it, but again you have Empin, who literally he's kind of like what is he, like a Baguska kind of, and then he can shrink monsters. You have Barrier Statue, you have Mega Riser. There are a lot of problematic cards, so that's why I feel like Flunder is going to be a good honorable mention, and it'll stick around for the next level formats, because I don't think it'll get hit on the ban list at all. And then another honorable mention is going to be Eldritch. Again, all these 3 decks have the exact same thing, not enough representation. Again, they are powerful decks, and you should definitely be wary of them, and they might even be able to become 5, 4, and 3, and 2, and maybe even 1 decks. But just right now I don't feel like that these decks have the ability to be number 1, but maybe they will later on down the line. You can play a lot of cards in Eldritch. You can play Torrential Tributes, you got Ice Dragon's Prison, you can play D-Barriers, you can play Dynamiscus, Needle Wall, Strikes, Divine Wraps. I feel like this deck is very good. Make sure you know what these decks do, but I mean that's the purpose of honorable mentions. It's to make sure that you guys know what these decks do. So that's why I feel like Eldritch is another solid deck in here. And then the final deck is going to be Sky Striker. You can technically make an argument to put this at 5, but just me personally, I don't think that it's going to be a meta deck right now, just because I feel like the representation isn't there. But who knows, maybe after the top 16 YCS and we know more of their decks and see deck lists and what people say, maybe it's going to change. But right now I don't feel like Sky Striker is going to be a meta deck right now, but again it can still beat the meta decks, especially with the addition of DPE. This guy is really insane. No DPE decks aren't here. I was just saying that Sky Striker with DPE is very good, so I'm just gonna put Sky Striker DPE together. I do feel like Sky Striker with DPE gave it a push that it needed, especially because, like, you know, now it has more non-engine cards that can actually do a lot instead of like relying on a bunch of hand traps. So that's why I think that it's going to be an honorable mention. But now finally moving on to the top 5. The first deck that makes the top 5 and is actually in 5th place is going to be Phantom Knights. Again, this is interchangeable with Sky Striker. If you want, you guys can do it like this, but for me personally, I think that Phantom Knights is going to be 5th. And the reason why I think Phantom Knights is actually going to be 5th, because again I think it's going first board is very powerful. Usually they do the Scythe lock, and they can play around like droplets and stuff, because essentially they go draw phase, Fog Blaze, Special Summon Breaksword to Pointer, Rusty Pop. If you negate that in the standby phase, DPE will be able to pop Scythe anyways and summon, so you literally need like double droplet, or not double droplet, you need like droplet Chalice and a lot of other cards that deal with it. So that's why I feel like it's 5th. Again, you can still end with Appaloosas, but you need a perfect hand, and I feel like seeing a perfect hand and the odds of your opponent not opening any hand traps, especially in a format as diverse as this one right now, where there's a lot of decks going around, you have to tech your deck out to beat a lot of them. So there's a lot of tech cards, like some people are maining Droll, Ash, there's DD Crows, there's Veilers, Imperms, Chalice, Droplet, Dark Rulers, some people are playing Kaijus. There's a lot of cards in this current format that I feel like Phantom Knights can still succeed in, but I don't think it can succeed to the same level as the number 1 guy. But now moving on to the 4th best deck, I think the 4th best deck is Invoked Dogmatica DPE. So again, DPE Striker, DPE Invoke Dogmatica. I in my personal opinion, I feel like it has to be in this order: Invoke Dogmatica DPE. playing Invoke DPE, I feel like it just won't be able to give you the same results. And then Dogmatica DPE, you're potentially trolling. So I think Invoke Dogmatica DPE is the best way to play this deck, just because the Invoked engine baits on hand traps in itself because it's a 1-card combo. Dogmatica, the exact same thing, it's a 1-card combo, and then just being able to end it with a DPE who gives you literally a pot of greed and a pop is really powerful, especially when you pair it with cards like El Shaddai Winda, Invoke Macabre, a lot of cards like those that cause trouble to a lot of the meta decks. Again, I feel like it still does lose to a little bit too much and doesn't have the results to put it to the top 3, but I do feel like it's very powerful in what it does. Now moving on to the third best deck of the format, I'm going to be talking about Drytron. Now I know what I've been saying is, it needs representation and all that sort of stuff. I just don't understand why people aren't playing Drytron. I feel like this deck is so insanely OP. It literally takes a dump on every single deck in the format when it goes first, because they can set up Ultimateness and Scythe. And for those of you guys who are not setting up Ultimate and Scythe and are playing Drytron and you're losing, I wonder why. It's literally the thing you lose to the most is Drone Lockbird. I know people are playing Drone Lockbird, but you have Orange Light, you have cards like Cobble the Grave, you have cards like Talons to still push through, look at your opponent's hand, rip card, and then combo. And now with the addition of DPE, I'm gonna put DPE here. DPE, he's so broken, man. Ever since we got him, he's been going a lot of decks. But again, DPE and Scythe, it literally does the PK board, but it does PK board with Ultimateness. That guy negates everything. Like, it's so insane to me why people aren't playing Drytron, especially since Drytron fell out of the format, quote unquote. A lot of people say it fell out of the format. I don't know if it fell out of the format or people are just afraid to play because they have monkey brains. But people aren't playing Cycle Reader anymore, and Cycle Reader was one of the main cards that stopped Drytron. So in my personal opinion, I think people should play Drytron. Why aren't they playing Drytron? My little brother plays Drytron, and you guys are about to see his deck profile and his combos and blah blah. It's actually crazy. So yeah, Drytron number 3, guys. I personally hate this deck, but I think it's criminally underrated. I feel like people are hating on way too much. So don't sleep on this deck for sure. I hope it gets hit on the ban list. I promise. I hope it gets hit on the ban list. Moving on to deck number 2. This is going to be where I put Sword Soul Tenyi. Again, Sword Soul Tenyi, not Sword Soul DP. I think Sword Soul DP is maybe around like 4 or 5. I think Sword Soul Tenyi, being able to play cards like Vishuda, being able to play cards like Heavenly Dragon Circle, all those cards that can help you push through going first or second are really important. Being able to set up Protos and lock your opponent out of literally any attribute. Like if we look over here, it locks you out of light, it locks you out of dark, light, dark, wind, light, like dark. I don't even know what Beat Troopers is, or Tree Boopers, or whatever. But yeah, this is a very good deck. I think it's the number 2 spot. I mean, you can make an argument for it to be number 1, personally speaking, just because it kind of reminds you of Salamangreat in the regard to where it kind of just does really fair things, but it consistently does those fair things. And over the span of like an event or something, Sword Soul is a very good deck to go because you won't really lose to variance as much as you think, as opposed to a combo deck. But now moving on to the last deck and the best deck of the format, in my current opinion, is Lyra Lucic Tri-Brigade. I feel like, yes, even though Sword Soul does have the representation, it can't keep up with the overall power level that Birds has. Being able to get into simplified game state and special summon any bird in just full combo is absolutely insane to me. It literally almost sets up an FTK board. They do Oath now as well. They do Apex Avian. They go like Robin with Infinity Ammo, Glitch Bounce, whatever. They do Double Dragon Lords. They do sometimes they have Order. The deck is absolutely super duper insane. I feel like it's the best deck of the current format right now. But don't get me wrong, Sword Soul is really close. If it was possible, I'd put Sword Soul like 1.5 and then put this guy at like 1.5 as well. These are interchangeable, like for sure you can choose whatever you want to end with, but in my personal opinion, I feel like that Lyra Lucic Tri-Brigade is probably the best deck of the format, followed by Sword Soul, followed by Drytron. Please, people, like, you guys need to be playing Drytron. This is free tops right here. Then Invoke Dogmatica DPE, then you got PK, then all mentions, you got Tree Boopers, you got Flunder, you got Eldritch, and you got Sky Striker. If you guys have any comments about this list, if you guys want to see me make another list, maybe about hand traps, I'm definitely going to be doing a balance prediction, so please guys let me know down below. I'm trying to be more consistent, so I just need the ideas, and I'll be able to provide that to you guys. But yeah guys, this was my ban list. If you guys also want to do your own ban list and send it to me, you guys can hit me up in Facebook. So guys, that was the video. If you guys liked the video, please just go ahead and like the video. If you see the video at 1 like, let's get it to 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's keep going. If you made it all the way to the end of the video and all the way until the outro, go ahead and comment down meta. That's META. Without further ado guys, like I always say, my name's Hamza. Keep on shining, never go on your dreams. Peace.